Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been following the Detroit Lions this offseason, you know it's been a roller coaster of possibilities, debates, and strategic moves. And right now, one of the most talked about topics among Lions fans and analysts alike is the ongoing search for that elusive, game-changing pass rusher. It's no secret that the Lions' defense, especially their pass rush, has been an area that needs reinforcements if they want to take that next big step toward becoming a true contender in the NFC. And with the 2024 season approaching, the question on everyone's mind is, will Detroit finally pull the trigger and make a bold move? Or will they stick with what they have and hope that internal development and scheme adjustments will do the trick? Well, let's dive deep into what's happening behind the scenes, what the experts are saying, and what this could mean for Detroit's future. Over the past few months, the Lions front office has been tight-lipped about their exact plans. But if you've been paying attention, you've seen the rumors swirling, names being floated, trade scenarios being discussed, and players being evaluated. The Lions, as you all know, have a solid core, but one thing that's clear is that they're eager to upgrade their pass rush. Why? Because in today's NFL, if you can't get consistent pressure on the quarterback, no matter how good your secondary is, you're always at a disadvantage. The league has shifted towards a pass-heavy game, and teams that can't get after the QB often find themselves on the losing end of close games, especially in the playoffs. Now, let's rewind a bit and talk about the current roster. The Lions have some promising players on the edge. You have Aiden Hutchinson, who was a standout rookie last season and looked like a future star. His speed, power, and relentless motor give fans hope that he'll anchor Detroit's pass rush for years to come. But beyond Hutchinson, the Lions have some question marks. They re-signed Charles Harris, who had a solid season, but he's more of a situational rusher. They also added some depth with players like James Houston, who flashed potential, but consistency remains the key. The problem is, as much as these players have shown promise, they haven't yet demonstrated they can reliably be the primary source of pressure game after game, especially when facing double teams or top-tier offensive lines. That's why Detroit's front office has been exploring options. They've looked at free agents, draft prospects, and trade possibilities. And one interesting name that keeps popping up in discussions is DJ Reader, the talented defensive tackle. Reader is a versatile interior lineman who can disrupt blocking schemes and collapse the pocket from the inside. His presence could free up pass rushers on the outside and create more opportunities for sacks. But here's where it gets intriguing. There's speculation that Detroit might be open to trading Reader before the start of the season. That might sound surprising at first, but when you look at the numbers and roster depth, it starts to make sense. Reader played only 53% of snaps last season, despite the Lions not being particularly deep at his position. The team has Tyleik Williams, Levi Onwuzurike, Roy Lopez, and Alan McNeil who are all competing for snaps. Plus, Reader's cap hit for 2025 is a hefty $9 million, which is a significant chunk of Detroit's salary cap. Now, if the Lions decide to move on from Reader, they could save approximately $7 million in cap space, which is a huge advantage given the financial flexibility they're aiming for this offseason. That money could be used to sign additional free agents, extend key players, or even acquire that much-needed pass rusher. So the question becomes, who could they target? Well, one name that's been floated around is Epenesa from the Buffalo Bills. Now, Epenesa isn't a household name yet, but he's shown flashes of potential. Last season, he struggled to generate consistent pressure, only 21 pressures in 356 pass rush snaps, according to Pro Football Focus. That's not eye-popping, but he did manage to get 6 sacks, which shows he has the ability to finish plays when given the opportunity. The Bills are in a bit of a rebuild mode themselves, and Epenesa's value on the trade market might be more affordable than some other edge rushers. If Detroit could acquire him for around $2 million in cap space, That's a pretty good deal, especially considering he's still young and has room to develop. Now, this isn't an earth-shattering move that will dominate conversations, but it's a pragmatic one. It aligns with the Lions' current goal of being smart with their cap space while shoring up a position that has been a concern for a while. Detroit has options in free agency, but acquiring a player like Epenesa through a trade could give them that additional boost without breaking the bank. It also signals a certain level of aggressiveness from the front office, acknowledging that in today's NFL, you can't just hope your young players develop overnight. Sometimes, you have to make calculated moves to stay competitive. Beyond just the immediate roster concerns, what's fascinating about this offseason is how it ties into Detroit's bigger picture. The Lions are coming off a season where they exceeded expectations, finishing with a 9-8 record and showing resilience and growth. Jared Goff proved to be a steady leader, and the coaching staff under Dan Campbell has been praised for creating a culture of toughness and accountability. But if they want to take that next step into genuine playoff contention and push deep into the postseason, upgrading the pass rush is non-negotiable. It's the missing piece that could elevate their defense from decent to dominant. And let's not forget the broader context of the NFC North. The division is shaping up to be more competitive than. The Minnesota Vikings have added some offensive firepower, the Green Bay Packers are rebooting around Jordan Love, and the Chicago Bears are still in rebuild mode but with a promising young quarterback. Detroit, on the other hand, has been building steadily, and with a few strategic moves, they could position themselves as the division's dominant team for years to come. The NFC North is no longer just a wait-and-see division. It's becoming a battleground, and the Lions are eager to be at the forefront. Now, looking ahead, the Lions' approach in this offseason will be crucial. Will they make bold trades? Will they prioritize cap space and flexibility? It seems they're leaning toward a smart, calculated strategy, aiming to improve their defense without sacrificing future flexibility. The potential trade of DJ Reader for AJ Epenesa is just one example of how Detroit is trying to balance immediate impact with long-term sustainability. If they pull this off, it could set a precedent for the rest of the league, showing that the Lions aren't content to sit back and hope for improvement. They're actively shaping their roster to be a force in the NFC. And it's not just about the players on the field. It's about the mentality. Detroit is cultivating a team that believes in itself, that refuses to accept mediocrity, and that's hungry for success. The leadership of Jared Goff, the coaching staff led by Dan Campbell, and the budding stars like Hutchinson and Swift all contribute to a sense of momentum. The addition of a proven pass rusher or a promising trade acquisition could be the final piece that turns this Lions team into a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Fans are dreaming big, and rightfully so. The NFC is wide open, and with the right moves, Detroit could be the team that surprises everyone in 2024. And speaking of expectations, the landscape of the NFL is shifting. Teams are investing heavily in pass rushers, understanding that the game is won at the line of scrimmage. The Lions are no different. They're aware of what's at stake. The draft is always an option, but sometimes, the best move is to acquire a player with proven NFL experience who can step in immediately and contribute. That's why trades like the one discussed for Epenesa make so much sense. They offer a balance of immediate impact and cap efficiency. Now, fans, I want to talk a little about the draft prospects. Detroit has a high pick in the upcoming draft, and many analysts believe they might target edge rushers early on. But given the depth of talent in this draft class, there's also a chance they might look to bolster other areas and then address pass rush through trades or free agency. The team's front office has shown a willingness to be flexible and aggressive, which is promising for the future. The goal is to build a sustainable winning model, and that often involves making tough decisions, like trading a player like DJ Reader if it means acquiring a better fit for the scheme or freeing up cap space for other critical signings. And let's not forget about the fans. The Detroit faithful have been waiting patiently for a return to the playoffs, for that sense of excitement that comes with a competitive, well-rounded team. The last few seasons have been promising, but everyone knows they're just scratching the surface of what this team can accomplish. The defense, especially the pass rush, is the final frontier. If the Lions can make a move that brings in a player like Epenesa or another impactful pass rusher, it could be the catalyst for a remarkable season. Imagine the energy in Ford Field when the defense starts to dominate, forcing turnovers, sacking the quarterback, and turning games around. That's what championship teams do, and Detroit is inching closer to that reality with each strategic move. Looking ahead, there's also the big picture of building a culture of winning. The Lions have been building this from the ground up, drafting smart, developing young talent, and creating a team ethos rooted in toughness and resilience. But in today's NFL, you need more than just grit. You need talent, scheme flexibility, and strategic acquisitions. The potential trade of Reader for Epenesa or similar players is a step in that direction, showing that the Lions are willing to be proactive rather than reactive. This is a team that's not just trying to get by. They want to dominate their division and make serious noise in the playoffs. And of course, it's impossible to ignore the impact of coaching. Dan Campbell has instilled a mentality of win the line of scrimmage, and players have bought into this philosophy. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn has been working tirelessly to improve the pass rush and coverage schemes, and with the right personnel, they could become one of the league's toughest defenses. The offseason moves, including potential trades, are part of that bigger plan, a plan to make Detroit a team that's feared on both sides of the ball. So, as we look forward to the rest of this offseason, it's clear that the Lions are in a strategic phase. They're balancing cap space, draft assets, and trade opportunities to optimize their roster. The idea of trading DJ Reader isn't just about clearing cap space. It's about creating room for a player who can give them that edge rush presence they desperately need. It's about sending a message that Detroit is serious about contending now and in the future. And if they manage to pull off a trade like that, it could be a game changer, not just for the season ahead, but for the franchise's trajectory over the next few years. In the end, what all Lions fans want is to see their team back in the playoffs, competing at the highest level and making a real push for that elusive Super Bowl. It's been a journey of rebuilding, patience, and hope. And right now, it feels like the pieces are starting to come together. The defense, especially the pass rush, could be the final piece of the puzzle. It's an exciting time to be a Lions supporter, and if the front office makes the right moves, the 2024 season could be one to remember. So stay tuned, because the offseason is far from over, and Detroit's front office has shown that they're not afraid to make bold moves. The potential trade scenarios, free agent signings, and draft strategies are all part of this grand plan to return Detroit to its rightful place among NFL contenders. And as always, we'll be here to bring you all the latest updates, analysis, and insights, so make sure to subscribe, share, and stay engaged. Because this is just the beginning of what looks to be a very exciting chapter for the Detroit Lions. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates. So stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news.